Hello everyone, this is Charles and Sybil with Love Day Dare number 28.
And day 28, can you believe it? It says, love makes sacrifices.
And our scripture for today is 1 John 3 and 16. He laid down his life for us. We should also lay down our lives for our brothers.
And sacrifices oftentimes, I think, means, what do I have to give up? And not that, oh, I'm giving this up, so you ought to be glad that I'm giving it up. But what will I willfully give up for the sake of love? You know, oftentimes we say, well, I quit hanging out with the guys, and I quit drinking, and I quit smoking. You shouldn't have been doing those things anyway. So giving those things up really isn't a sacrifice. Those things aren't sacrifices. That stuff you just shouldn't be doing. You know, a sacrifice says, I'm going to love you when I don't feel like it. I'm going to look after you maybe when I have something else to do. Sacrifice says that I see that you have a need that gets in the way with a want that I have right now. And your need is greater than my want. So I want to sacrifice what I may want right now to satisfy your needs.
And it mentions here that the only way we figure out that our spouse may need us or that life is getting hard for them is when our mate starts to complain.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're like, boy, you got a bad attitude. You know, instead of just helping.
What's wrong with him?
The pain and pressure they're under doesn't even register with us when it's our pain and our pressure. You know, when we complain, you know, me, myself, and I, when we complain, we want, all three of us, we want everybody to feel sorry for us.
Oh, yeah. Something's wrong with me. You couldn't see what's wrong with me? I've got an issue. You should have the too.
But when love is at work, none of the things that we just mentioned happens. Love doesn't have to be jarred awake by your mate's obvious signs of distress. Before worries and troubles have begun to bury them, love has already gone into action mode. It sees the weight beginning to pile up, and it steps in to help. That's because love wants you to be sensitive to your spouse. Love
is truly an action verb. I saw my thing in action. Anyway, I couldn't resist. But hey, it's definitely an action. It's definitely an action word, and it's always seeking to provide what the other needs. It's always, like I said, it's almost like a radar or something, such that if you're having a challenge, if your spouse is dealing with something, then before they say anything, you preemptively step right in and at least acknowledge that there might be a challenge.
And it says here, love makes sacrifices. It keeps you so tuned in to what your spouse needs that you often respond without being asked.
And that will keep the love fires burning. I'll tell you, it'll keep the fire stoked up. Because it's good to know that your spouse is in tune with you.
Right.
When you know that your spouse is in tune with you and they begin to feel sometimes what you feel before you say anything, it gives you an added sense of security and comfort.
Yes. Even when your mate's stress comes out in words of personal accusation, love shows compassion rather than becoming defensive, which we know we can do. Love inspires you to say no to what you want in order to say yes to your spouse's needs.
And it's a learned thing. I don't think you just have this by nature. I don't even see that in children. So this is something that we have to learn. But we have to come into the relationship knowing that we're not fully equipped to have what we would consider, quote-unquote, the extraordinary great marriage. We're just not equipped yet. We're still learning in this thing that we call a relationship.
It doesn't just happen.
No. It's deliberate again. We go back to deliberate.
And it's a choice that we make. Jesus, you know, he laid down his life for us to show us that we should also lay down our lives for others. You know, he taught us that the evidence of love is found in seeing the need in others and then all that we can to satisfy it. Matthew 25:35 and 36. For I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you invited me in. Naked and you clothed me. I was sick and you visited me. I was in prison and you came to me. These are the types of needs that we should be looking at with our husbands and wives. Instead of sitting around upset, thinking they're not treating you the way they ought to treat you, you know, let love pick you up out of your pity party and turn your attention to their needs.
Get me out of the pit that's got it on me.
questions that they say that perhaps you can ask as it relates to Matthew 25, 35, and 36. The one question is he hungry? Is he needing you sexually even when you don't feel like it? Go ahead.
Is she thirsty, craving the time and attention you seem able to give to everyone else?
Does he feel like a stranger, insecure in his work and needing home to be a refuge and a sanctuary?
Is she naked, frightened or ashamed, desperate for the warm covering of your love and affirmation?
Is he feeling sick, physically tired and needing you to help guard him from interruptions?
Does she feel imprisoned, fearful and depressed, needing some safety and intervention?
And what that shows me is, it's amazing how we don't apply, because I've never thought to apply that type of scripture to my marriage.
Oh, yeah.
Once again, here's another one of those verses, I've read this and I know it's there, because this is where I'm supposed to help everybody.
Right.
But I never applied, Matthew 25, 35, and 36 to my marriage. Never thought about it.
Good scripture, though.
Yeah, good scripture.
But it's like having a brush in the closet. You open up the closet, what is a good brush? And you put it back in the closet. You never use it to apply the thing that it was meant to apply.
Wow. Love is willing to make sacrifices to see that the needs of your spouse are given your very best effort and focus. When your mate is overwhelmed and under the gun, love calls you to set aside what seems so essential in your own life to help, even if it's merely gifting a listening ear.
And men, we have to really work at that, because oftentimes our wives will come to us and they'll have a challenge and we want to do the one thing that makes sense. Fix it. Now we want to fix it in a hurry so we can move on to the next thing. When in actuality what she needs you to do is to listen with an emotional ear and an emotional heart to hear what she's feeling, not just what she's saying.
The words, "How can I help you?" need to stay fresh on your lips. How can I help you? The solutions may be simple and easy for you to do, or they may be complex and expensive, requiring time, energy, and great effort. And I find that as married couples, we'll pay to go to a therapist when we're having a personal issue. We'll pay to go to the doctor when my body is in trouble. We'll pay to do all these things, but when it comes to our marriage, if it costs anything, then it ain't worth all that.
Oh, it's like the cost is too great.
Yeah.
Like, plus, I don't want anybody in my
business.
And have you ever noticed? You go to the bank, you let a stranger look at your bank account, see how much money you ain't got, and you don't get mad.
Don't get mad about it at all.
But however, in the relationship that you have a covenant responsibility to, you won't do what's necessary to make sure that you can grow that thing into what God has ordained and made it to be.
When the New Testament believers began to walk in love, their lives together were marked by sharing and sacrifice. Their heartbeat was to worship the Lord and to serve His people.
And it says, all those who had believed were together and had all things in common. And they began selling their property and possessions and were sharing them with all, as anyone might have need. That means that I am my brother's keeper. So in your relationship, I am my wife's keeper. You are your husband's keeper. And we sell those things. And what do I mean by sell? That means that we are willing to give up. We're willing to part with those things that sometimes we hold dear as consideration toward the needs of our spouse.
And today's dare, what is one of the greatest needs in your spouse's life right now? Is there a need you could lift from their shoulders today by a daring act of sacrifice on your part? Whether the need is big or small, purpose to do what you can to meet the need.
Meet the need. As they say on TV, feed the need.
Okay.
That's right, because it's home.
Yeah.
And tomorrow's Love Dare, day 29, simple is?
Love's motivation.
I'm motivated to get going. All right. Hey, so come on and get motivated with us on strikingconversations.com. Go out and register with us. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. I'm trying to work out the MySpace thing. I'm going to get it pretty soon. But get out there, join in with us. We're going to do some great things. We're looking forward to all that God has for us in marriage and relationship. And with that, we're going to say goodbye now. We love you.
Bye-bye.